Like you're my Jewish grandmother right now.
I that's
I don't know
how
why
I feel.
Said grandmother instead of grandfather. But.
I'm definitely a grandmother type.
Hi, David Crow here, and I am here with Amanda Peet, Alessandro Nivola, and Matthew Shear. Matthew, I want to begin by saying this is a very beautiful, very intimate movie, and I'm curious how intimately familiar as the writer, director, and star were you with this character and the travails he's going on?
How honest would you like me to be?
As honest as you feel like it.
No, it was really this kind of hybrid creative exercise where I was bringing a lot of myself into the story, but also kind of having a lot of fun finding tangents that that were kind of dramatic and fun.
One of the really amusing early gags in the movie is your character, Sam. He's at his psychiatrist, who I will add is played by Judd Hirsch. And he admits he's a Jewish man who is terrified of the thought of having anti-Semitic thoughts. What does that say about it?
I think it, for me, was a good expression of obsessive compulsive disorder. There's a tendency to kind of go into thinking that is like so opposite to your kind of moral sense, almost as a challenge to your ability to tolerate it. I found that, and I was like, and it kind of scared me and amused me, and I just sort of had to go for it.
It's also just such a great way to introduce the movie. And also the fact that you have some really good cast, a really good ensemble here. The two of you play a married couple who enlist the Sam character as the nanny for their daughters. And I was curious, how would you describe the dynamic of your family when we meet them in this movie?
The family seems to be sailing along. The idea is that the marriage has hit a snag, like a middle-aged ennui snag, which I think, happens sometimes when you have two people in entertainment and both of their hopes and dreams have kind of fizzled a little bit. I think that's sort of the idea.
One of the nice things about the movie is that the film has compassion for all the characters in it, even when they do stupid stuff. Both of our characters are selfish in different ways and self-obsessed in the way that people often get at our age, looking back over their lives and wondering what they've made of it. But somehow it doesn't diminish from the attention that they give to their kids and the love that they have for them. And so there is a feeling that these are good people who are kind of suffering.
And Amanda, it is wonderful seeing you in this, particularly since it's been a minute since you've been on the big screen and seeing you up there.
I found out it's been 10 years. I didn't know that. And it wasn't really a happy moment. I want to thank you here publicly for giving me my middle-age break.
I mean,
by the way, if I said middle age in front of my sister, she'd be like, honey, you're way past middle age. She's a doctor. Anyway, I'm so sorry.
I just will quickly say that, I've been an Amanda Peet fan for ages, and she's done incredible television work in the last 10 years. It's not like she's been twiddling her thumbs. She created the show The Chair.
It's like you're my Jewish grandmother right now.
That's
I don't know
how
why
I feel.
Said grandmother instead of grandfather. But.
I'm definitely a grandmother type. And it was just like a no-brainer to go to her for this. Just the comedic end of it and the sort of like intimate, touching side of it is just within her spectrum.
You are not Diane, but I was curious if you're able to tap into her. For the record, your character is an actress in the movie. Are you able to tap into her anxieties and vulnerabilities about working in this crazy business?
I mean, it really felt like Matthew wrote it for me. Like when I read it, I was like bowled over and wanted to get at it as soon as possible. As soon as I read the shrink scene where he's having these intrusive, self-hating Jewish intrusive thoughts, I was like, I'm in.
And I need to quickly share an early story, which was that when Amanda communicated to us that she was intrigued. We set up a Zoom and we talked.
Oh God, what did I do?
No. We talked, for the first time, and my like greatest anxiety in meeting her was like, I'm a first-time director. Like, how do I communicate that I can do this? I had like a speech, prepared. My producer, Charlie, was like, mention you're not going to hire a DP that's a light jockey. And then I sort of went into about like a sentence of this, and Amanda was like, you're fine.
That's what I said?
Yeah.
Wow.
A good egg.
Wow.
Alessandro, it's interesting, we're talking a lot about the relationship between Sam and Diane, but when we first meet this couple, it's really through David's eyes, and you're the first one to introduce us to this family. And I was curious, he seems pretty friendly, so how would you describe the energy between these characters and what they see in Sam?
When Sam first arrives at the house, David is just completely distracted by what's going on in his own life, and it's something that's potentially very exciting for him, which is to be hitting the road again as a musician. He's been kicking around Brooklyn for years now, I think, not performing and just kind of withering on the vine, and suddenly he has this opportunity to go again, and that happens to coincide with the moment that Sam comes to the house to babysit. So David's head is just in another world. I think to Sam that probably just feels confusing and frustrating and difficult because he doesn't know how to engage with him. He is, as you said, like an amiable guy, and he likes Sam and treats him almost like a confidant when they first meet, almost kind of winking at him like they've known each other all their lives, and leaves him completely unprepared for the job of looking after his children.
Could you talk a little bit about the affinity that Sam and Diane, the kinship that they develop?
In the beginning of the film, Sam is in this pretty lost place where he's just been fired from his job. He's kind of having that experience with his psychiatrist. He's like just kind of mixed up, and he falls into this job babysitting, and it kind of is like fish out of water, like the worst fit in the world, but then like quickly it's like, oh, this may be the best fit in the world. And that basically comes to a head when he finds Diane and realizes that he has this kind of almost spiritual connection to her that is sometimes sort of unspoken, and it develops into like a friendship that has sort of romantic touches to it.
Amanda, there's some really wonderful scenes in this of just your characters having long conversations, and they're often done in long takes. Did it feel like a play almost, or a chance to really just dig in with your co-star and develop these characters in those scenes?
I mean, it was on the page this way. My favorite scene in the movie, I think, is the basketball scene between Alessandro and Matt. So, I don't think they did it all in one take, but I think Matthew's writing, you have a wonderful sense of pace, but he also lets it breathe. And since it is a movie about intimacy and relationships, and he let us take our time with the scenes, and we shot some stuff in big, long takes. Our restaurant
the
scene.
One scene you mentioned is totally improvised.
It is?
No,
Totally
it isn't. No, it
improvised?
isn't. There's definitely an improvised section of it where,
Okay.
and if I could show you the footage we have of Alessandro bawling and dribbling a
Bawling,
soccer ball,
not crying.
not
but-
crying, you'd die.
Well, he's an
Yeah.
insanely.
Is that what you call playing basketball?
Bawling. That's what is that not what it's called?
To me, it's very interesting what you choose to show and not to show. To me, there are almost theatrical ellipses. Could you talk about the decision? We never see the full panic attacks. We only see the aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
Or we actually don't see Sam and Diane's very first encounter. We come to them after the fact, and I was curious the choices behind that.
That structure really was a result of my writing process, which would reach a point in the story, and then I would just see something else, and I would follow that. And then when I kind of finished my first draft, I like realized that I'd kind of had a structure in there somewhere, and then I kind of like was able to refine that. And I'll just say the ellipses, like, I just really like that kind of storytelling where you don't know exactly what's happening, but you know enough. Yeah.
Alessandro, have you talked with Adrian since Sunday?
We haven't talked, no. I mean, we text all the time. We have a group text that is mostly stuff that should never be shared with anyone.
Ooh.
And I mean, it's the whole cast, and we've had it sort of since Venice. It's a tight-knit group and have a lot of affection for all of them, and I'm really happy for him. Since then, most of it's actually just been like giving him a hard time about making a really long speech.
Oscar history. Thank you so much for coming by. I really did enjoy this movie, and I think it's
Thank
a
you so
beautiful
much.
film, and I think it's great for Austin. And thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thanks.